Mhm. Who else do we
Well,
have on here? We have Christian recording artist Deborah Price is on here. So
hello,
Miss Deborah, can you let us know where you tuning in from?
hello everyone. I'm the sister Deborah Price, the psalmist. I'm coming in from the southern part with my country self, Alabama.
All
Okay,
right.
all right. Thanks for tuning in. Jesus, uh, how's it going, good brother? Where you tuning in from? Man, I can talk. And what about you, Sister Paulette? Where you tuning in from?
I don't know how to work. Oh, can you?
Yeah, we got
This the weird phone. It just look weird. Oh, Paulette
you.
Triplet. Actually, I live in Maywood. It's out about 10 minutes from Chicago.
Okay. We just up there had some good Giordano's pizza and
Oh,
what else
really?
do we have?
Okay.
And Mandy's Soul Food Kitchen in Bolingbrook. Good food up
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, our special guest, Miss Kendra Foster, is on here, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Kendra, she's a great artist, great person. She's been a part of some amazing projects and bands from George Clinton, P Funk, to D'Angelo and the Vanguard. Um, she has several songs on the new Andre Day's album. Of course, she's been all on Jay Leno and all those great shows. And of course, if you go to your Netflix right now and turn on Book of Clarence, you can hear a song in there that she's singing on as well. So it's definitely an honor to have her as our special guest tonight. And you know, she's always been in my corners even since I was a teenager, running around in different venues. I was probably too young to be in, but I was tagging along anyway, learning the business, learning how to be a musician and band leader and songwriter as well. So I took a lot of the things I learned from her and several others and just applied it over the years. And like I said, I'm grateful for her sharing her time with us and learning from her even more tonight, along with you guys. So, of course, Kendra, the floor is yours.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Kendra, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
hi. How you doing? By the way, Jesus is one of my brothers. He's an amazing writer, amazing visual
Mhm,
artist, and
mhm,
he co-wrote some of those same songs with me with Andra
mhm,
Day on her album.
mhm,
We worked with Andra
mhm.
Day. So he
Awesome.
visiting, I don't know what, but he's on here all the way from Arizona. So
Mhm.
yes. But
Awesome.
welcome everyone to the room. So will just dive right into it. I figured I would start with what my process is,
Mhm,
and then probably move on to some questions or even, tell a little story about how I even entered the industry and was able to work with the people that were like my idols and such and what I think led me to that point. But first and foremost, and it's possible that my writing process is like the same thing that everybody else does, writing or, but maybe there's something in it that you can find useful. And then I will definitely take questions at some point and prayerfully I can answer them. Um, so first and foremost, I am a melody first person. Like it's all about the melody and the notes for me. There are so many words in our languages that can say what we're trying to say. So I don't worry about those right away. Some people are blessed that the words come to them with the melodies, but that's not quite how it works for me most of the time. Sometimes, but not all the time. Hey, there's Jesus. Hey. And so basically, melody first, notes. So what I find is a lot of times when I'm vocalizing those notes and those melodies, they come out on certain vowel sounds. Um, and a lot of times they come out on those sounds because they feel good. The notes feel good ringing on those vowel sounds, which actually have something to do with how the note opens up anyway. And so what I do is then I figure out, okay, what am I writing about? Or if I'm writing for someone else, I know what they're writing. Figure out what they're trying to say. And I can get to actually what it's like writing with other people and writing for someone else. But for me, when I'm creating my music, whether it's for me or whether it just goes on to be submitted for someone else, then I think about those vowel sounds that sing those notes really well. And I find words that encompass those things, that contain those vowel sounds. So if, like, for instance, um, oh, did da do, did da do, da do, dee. So that's a part of a song that I have already. Now let's just say that when I was trying, the melody came to me, I was doing that. It ended up turning into close my eyes and tried not to cry because something instinctively probably made those vowel sounds come out of my mouth. Now, this gets really nerdy. My process is very much like after a while, it becomes mathematics. So that's first. When we're trying to find the words, we try to find the words that contain those same vowels that were singing those notes in a certain way. So the other thing that I have to think about when I'm writing on the technical side is, let's say I have a melodic line, and I'm trying to figure out how many words are going to fit in that line. I believe the term for that, in like when you apply words to phrasing or making sure that they fit into the rhythmic nature of your melody, it's called scansion, I believe. But I try to count out the number of notes that I have in a melodic line. And then that also makes me think of how many syllables are going to be required to go over that melodic line. So in that case, it's like, to achieve that number of syllables, am I going to do one word that's really long, two words that are really long, or a bunch of short words? But that keeps me in alignment with rhythmically what the melodic lines are doing. And a lot of times I'm typically a top line writer. I'm not usually a part of the underlying composition, though I hear things sometimes, but my main focus is top line. Now, that's what happens when it comes to me. When I'm writing for other people, it's a lot of times they may already have their melody and they just need words. They may even have some words, but we got to figure out how to make it work. And that's where those things like counting out the syllables come in handy when someone gives you melodies, but you already but you're trying to put words over them. Another thing that I've learned writing for other people, especially when I'm writing for men, is that I, as a female, there's and this gets into a little more of like typification of what a man says or thinks and what a woman thinks. Um, Although I think we're a lot more similar than we realize. But I've had a couple men tell me most of the time I do all right, but they'll say, you might need to change that because it doesn't sound masculine, or it sounds vulnerable, or it sounds too emotional, or some things of that nature. So I've also had to, try to think like a man and phrase things In a way, sometimes some things, are unisex. So that's that. I am a person who can write a whole lot. I have rarely collaborated with others, especially on my own music, because I just have so many ideas. But what I really admire are people who are like me, like an Andrew Day or like D'Angelo, who can write endlessly, but they still say, you know what? I need more to what's the word I'm looking for, to complete this perfection. Let me find someone else, or I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing too many things. Let me find other people that are genius to help me fill in the blanks, or to help me create, or to help me. And collaboration in songwriting can be very, very, very important. I'm even finding myself that there are some songs that have of my own that have sat on the shelf because I just took them as far as I could, and nothing else is necessarily coming up for me. So I'm now about to learn how collaboration, not just working with other people for other people, but for myself, is a blessing. Let's see. What else? There was something else. In songwriting and working with D'Angelo, he really reminded me of this. And that is, you can come up with a lot of great things, especially when it comes to lyrics over melodies. There's a lot of great things you can come up with. But what we're often looking for is the thing, the most perfect thing for the situation. Sometimes we can find ourselves rushing the process because we got all this like perfection, and we want to, just get it done and finish it and wrap it up. And a lot of times you can feel when something is great or even good, but not it. And so that's what I find myself working very hard to, even if it takes a little extra time, even if it takes collaboration to get it done, if you are on a timeline, that not settling for just anything that seems like it would work, but the thing. That's very important, I think, to writing undeniable songs. Yeah. So that is more or less, it's not a whole lot, but that is my process. That's what comes to mind for me. Those are the things that I focus on when I am writing. And so there's that. I don't know if anyone is interested in kind of like how I came into the whole industry and everything. But okay, yes, I got one nod. That's enough for me. and and so yeah. So, and it's an interesting story because I think what it taught me along the way was that hard work and being not always doing things that are convenient or comfortable or have an obvious reward right away can be very worth it. So let's see. I am from Tallahassee, Florida, and I was attending FAMU. Um, I had already discovered that people do music for a living. I thought it wasn't really a possibility for me. So I was like a math major and a chemistry major before I became a music major. And found out like, no, people are making money doing this around town even. Let me, see what it do. And lo and behold, one of my mentors, and I had very good mentors. I had a jazz mentor, Whitney Russell, and a funk mentor, Michael Patterson. And And one of the things that Whitney taught me that I think really kept me in the game was honing in on my craft, making sure that I practice, that I'm not just resting on the natural talent that I've been given to sing, to actually work my instrument, my voice, like an external instrumentalist would do. And a lot of times people refer to external instrumentalists, as I call them, as musicians, and then we're singers. Like singers aren't also musicians. So one of the things I learned from him that I think really carried me through this process was you have to spend time with your voice, with your instrument. You have to run it through scales. You have to do breathing exercises to give you more breath support, to improve even your pitch. You have to run through scales and practice, and especially on the jazz side of things, when I was trying to be an improvisationalist, really going into the woodshed, as they call it, or shedding. So with that said, at the time I was in school, I had a job, and I also was in a dance company at FAMU. So my schedule was very packed. But through Michael Patterson, I found out that George Clinton had moved to Tallahassee. And that even though like I didn't really get funkadelic like that, or parliament, or funk at all, because I was more of an R&B, hip hop, what it ended up being neo soul type of girl, jazz. So funk was kind of being introduced to me by Michael. And so, but anyways, he started working for George at a studio out in Monticello, which is about, as anybody who knows that's from here, it's like 2 miles, 2 miles, 20 miles or 20 minutes at least drive from Tallahassee. And at the time, I had an 85 Toyota Corolla. So now I'm telling my age, that's all right. So with all of that, that didn't have a radio, that I had to spend money to put batteries in a boombox that I would play, because okay, so anyways, so I started by tagging along with Michael Patterson a lot, because he was engineering for George. Somehow he had been a George disciple and was trying to teach me about Parliament Funkadelic. And quickly I learned, and quickly I fell in love with their music. And quickly I really understood that had fallen in love with Prince already. I was totally like a D'Angelo fan. And I was realizing that the people that I was a fan of the most looked up to P-Funk and George Clinton and the whole Parliament Funkadelic pantheon. And so, me tagging along with Michael was just so that I could be, of course, anybody would want an opportunity to be like, oh, maybe I can get signed or something like that. But I just really wanted to first and foremost be at the foot of the masters. So I would drive. Sometimes if I didn't ride with Mike, I would pull together all my coins, and I do mean literal coins, to get the gas to drive out 20 miles, 20 minutes to Monticello whenever it looked like I could. And I would ask my girlfriends, who also were aspiring to be in the industry, hey, you want to come with me? Like, let's just go out there. And they'd be like, what's going to happen? Like, how, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to be able to, what's going to come of it? If we come all the way out there and leave our comfort zone, what's going to, and so basically I was like, okay, I would take my very hard music theory homework with me and wait for a chance to get on the mic, wait for a chance it was like an upper room in the building that he was working in, that he had made into a makeshift studio. And I would just to be around to hear them talk about music, because a lot of times the members of P-Funk would come through Tallahassee, or it would be like a stopping point or whatever after their tour. Mind you, they tour 85% of the year. So if George was actually at the studio, it was a big deal.
Mhm.
However, George has a son. Well, he has many children, but one of his sons is a complete genius. We call him Tracy Lewis. And or Tracy, no, I guess it's Tracy Clinton, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, he and I started working together. And during the spring break, when I had more time, I went out to the studio and I ate, slept, cut. I barely came home. I'll fall asleep in a chair. I was just trying and trying and trying. And maybe I had been lucky enough a couple times before this to, well, I definitely had to record a song or two with George, and he would produce me. Another thing that was really cool about George producing me was I was such a pretty singer. It was very important to me to sing pretty, to sing, but George taught me about singing with stylizing singing with character voices, with because his thing was that okay, characters never they're immortal, and it gave my voice more dimension, almost to the point that when he wanted to produce me doing what I do, he was like, I don't know what to tell you. And it was like when I finally achieved whatever he was trying to get out of me, I was like, oh, you just wanted me to do what I was doing before you taught me how to. Anywho, so I'd already cut a couple songs with him, but this week I don't know how many songs we must have done, like 10 or something in a week. It was crazy. And so basically, after a long time, it was probably a year and a half, maybe, before this spring break that I had been coming out to the studio, that George knew about me. Even other people around the studio that were kind of haters would be like, I don't know, what do you think? You think he's gonna sign you? You think he's gonna, what, and I was just like, nah, I'm just trying to be in the presence of. If that happens, great. Of course, it would be a dream in the back of my mind, but I'm just, feel blessed to be able to be a part. So one day, um, George's CAO, Archie Ivy, was like, hey, George really loved what you did with this song, whatever song it was. He had also noticed how much I'd worked with his son, Tracy. And he was like, we feel like we would be remiss if we don't sign you to a production deal. And so ultimately what George said when he said what really made him sign me, besides whatever talent, was that I reminded him of how he and the band used to be at United Sound, how they would just be there all the time, dedicated, waiting to get on the mic, eat, sleeping, cutting, just constantly engaged in. And so all those like nighttime drives. Now look, Monticello, where he was at, where that building was at, was in the sticks. So it would be scary. It'd be dark. I'd be trying to play my little music on my boombox. So I wouldn't, oh my gosh. And then yeah, the coins, trying to pull my gas together, and my little 85 Toyota Corolla driving back and forth out there in between work, in between school. But it all paid off because, he did end up actually signing me to a production deal. And that's ultimately how I came into the industry. Then I joined the band. Then after so many years, I met D'Angelo through them because they were a big influence on him. And and with D'Angelo, that was me getting the phone number from George's daughter at the right time, while it turned out he was working on his album, which would ultimately become Black Messiah. And I randomly called him. We all know he's a recluse, so for him to answer 850 number is crazy. But he did. And then ultimately we decided I would send him um a writing sample to his engineer, Ben Kane. And so I sent the writing sample. I also, because there's like 26 of us in P-Funk, I was like, I'm going to just send a picture so you know which person I am. And so, sure enough, it just so happened, thanks to George and performing at the Montreux Jazz Festival, which ended up being aired on BET for a while, or BET, one of the BET channels. He had already seen me and he was like, I've been wondering, been trying to, find you. Like, I'll definitely want to work with you because he saw me performing on that. So all those things were connected. And then, ultimately, after a few years of being on the road really hardcore, and having to do a lot of writing with him via satellite, whether I was adding words to already existing melodies or whether I was creating melodies, or both. I would be doing that via satellite, as I say, virtually through voicemails, through emails. But ultimately, I got to take a break from the road and get in the same room often. And, ultimately I was able to co-write 8 out of the 12 songs on Black Messiah. And then lo and behold, for that very different album for the times, we won 2 Grammys. And so, yay. So that's the short story of how it all came about, for me, and that hard work and dedication. And even when it doesn't look like there's a particular reward you're looking for, like what they say, it's not always about the destination, it's about the journey. But, in that, I ended up at the destination and had a beautiful, fruitful journey, because all of that type of hard work turned me into the writer that I am, and how much I'm dedicated to writing and how much I like to squeeze my brain with that. And mind you, when I first started writing, and it was around the time, the irony is that it was around the time that I was starting to go out to the studio, because I was intimidated by writing, but I found out in my music business class that that's where all the money is. So I started writing, but I would throw my stuff in the trash before I even played it for anybody or sung it for anybody. And that's another thing I would say. There are times too that I wouldn't show D what I was thinking of, and then he would be like, sometimes that's your best stuff. Like, I don't care what it is, just always like let me hear it, because you may not have any faith in it, but it could be really good. So that's another anecdote. But yes, so that's all of that stuff. If anybody has any questions, I pray that I can answer them.
Kendra, before you take on questions, I do want to acknowledge another very special guest, Brother Martin Luther out of San Francisco. He's another amazing artist. You might have saw him in the movie Across the Universe. You might have seen him on the road with the Roots, or in the movie Dave Chappelle Block Party. So I just want to salute him as well.
Martin Luther, my brother.
What's up, baby?
Hey.
I've just been enjoying this whole journey. It's like I could even go back to some of the years and some of the moments. Y'all don't need to see me laid up in the bed. But anyway, hey, everybody. This is awesome.
Hello.
Ontario, thank you for, welcoming me into the vibe. Kendra, what it do? This is a gift. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It's a gift to have all of you here, and my brother Martin Luther. Like, we're going to have to do some work together, by the way.
To the goodness.
Yes, yes.
Just count me in. If you hear any noise. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
let me get off of this thing.
So, do we have any I talk super fast, so I raced through so much, but I also wanted to make
Amazing
sure
story.
there'd be time.
That's good.
Huh?
I said that was amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So inspiring. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, okay. So here we go. Oh, ooh, I gotta be looking at the chat. All right, y'all forgive me. I'm not always at best at this. Okay, am I missing? Okay, so we got one question. Any advice for songwriters pitching songs? Woo, that's a really good question. Because pitching songs, all right, I'm gonna tell you a little piece of something that I learned the hard way, or it took a long time for me to find out, is sadly 10% of place, at least at one time, this is what I was told, 10% of placements are submissions. Many times artists want you in the room with them when you're creating. They want to be a part of it. They want to impart, what their vision is. They want to make sure that, and so that's what I learned, because I'm signed to a publishing deal with Sony ATV. And I don't know at what point it was, if I went to a seminar or whatever it was that they said this. So with that said, it's already a tough game. So but knowing that helps okay, what I need to strive for is to get in the room with these artists to make sure if there's any connection I have, if it's to the artist, if it's to their cousin, if it's to a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend, if it's to anybody that you can meet. And what helps that is something that I'm not always the best at, and that's networking. That's when you find out that people are writing things, that they've made placements, and we've probably all come across these folks that, you connect with them, that at some point, maybe you show them what your writing is like, so that if they fall in love with how you do, they may call you to help them to be a part of something, or to take what do they call them? Brief for what songs are that are being looked for, because the irony is they say it's only 10% of placements are submissions, like stuff that you turn in, that's already fully formed. But then you hear about all these briefs of what, different artists are looking for, what sort of tempos they're looking for, what sort of, what their sounds and what they're trying to say. So what I would say is, okay, on the side of submissions, pay attention to those briefs. Pay attention, go and research the person that you're writing for. See where they've been, and don't let that limit you, because sometimes they may be trying to go somewhere new, or they may not have even been thinking to go somewhere new, but they hear something that you create and it wants to take them into a new direction. Let's see what else when it comes to submitting. Yeah, if you can get your hands on or be privy to the briefs, that will very much help you pay attention to them and study them, and that will very much help you be prepared to make that your submission be a part of that small percentage of submissions that turn into placements. Let's see. But always pitch your songs no matter what. If you're lucky enough to meet, I'll tell you a story. It's a heartbreaking story, but also maybe one that will be useful. It's heartbreaking for me anyway. So I was living in New York for 13 years. I only recently moved back to Tallahassee. So I was at the Blue Note when Ari Lennox decided to do the Blue Note. So somehow, at the end of the show, her manager kind of played me out. And I was like, all right. And then I saw her and I was like, hello, excuse me, my name is Kendra Foster. I let her know, that I got a couple Grammys for Black Messiah, and that, I would like to write with her, and could I get her info? She gave me her number. And so I sent her one of my best songs that I was planning for my album. It had already gotten a lot of good feedback. So I was just like, wow, this is probably going to be the song to break me, And so she responds, this is very beautiful. I would love to cut it. And I don't know what I was thinking at the time, because the same way that I told her, oh, well, this is going to be on my album, I got more where that came from, is what I should have told myself. I got more where that came from. I can create another song that would potentially break me. Ari Lennox wants to cut one of my songs. Like, let it go. Let go of it. Especially if in this industry, like, I got 2 Grammys, but I've had ups and downs with financial stuff. And you want to reach a point where maybe you're not Mother Beyonce, but you are like comfortable doing music for a living, like, even if it's right. My aspiration is not just to be a songwriter. I'm still trying to be Kendra Foster, the artist, and for people to fall in love with my music through me. And then, like, on the side, I'm writing for other people because I'd still love to hear my music come through other people. But that was a hard lesson that I learned, because I really should have just been like, you do, like, let's discuss the particulars, and it eats me alive every time I think about it. And then, of course, after a while, we were still in touch, but we lost touch, and so that opportunity went somewhere. But you never know. I guess that what I can console myself with is what God has for me is for me, on top of whatever lesson I learned from that.
Brother Martin, do you have some things you want to share, like within your experiences and your journey?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I was asking, is there anything you want to contribute from your journey that you had so far in regards to songwriting or just music business in general?
It's where do you begin? I don't know. I'll just talk, because listening to Kendra was amazing. For one, thank you for sharing. You took me down some of my own roads and paths and persons and beacons and rudderers, because you was planning on doing this. And some point in time, maybe very early on, very, very early on, you had committed to the idea of you doing something with your gift with the world. And, you go out with these thoughts that are kind of buried deep, but they're your private, inner sanctum space that's not developed, not fully formed, but it knows it's longing for something, and it's in earnest. So if anyone can add any bit of glitter, any bit of water, any bit of sparkle, any bit of information, any beat machine, any game, anything you got, I'm gonna take it and chew on it, because you're the only bit of information that we have back in those days. Now it's a whole different world. And that time, you heard about somebody around the corner that knew Sly Stone, or somebody whose uncle played drums with the Ohio Players. You didn't have a direct plug in and play. Now you're in LA, now you're in New York doing your thing. You knew there was a big gray area, and you went for it anyway. It's awesome. Because there's so many people that have been around that inspired thoughts, but I wanted to make something that was me. And in order for me to know what that was, I had to live. I didn't have to go and suffer all the heartbreaks like the dude said in the 5 Heartbeats, but I felt very wholeheartedly what he was saying about his writing, and then about the information that you will get from living, that could go into melody, that could form thought and turn into a phrase that's transforming people's lives, because now they're saying it because you took the time, like Kendra was saying, to work, to do that work, to figure out what your bar is going to be, what a litmus is going to be of value, so that you know that you are bringing something that is an asset to the game. I didn't want to be in the engineering room and not know what the buttons did. I was hell-bent on knowing what the buttons did. That could have slowed me down a little taste because I'm now focusing on an aspect of something that you can clearly forever just go hire someone else to do. But by doing it myself, I'm carving and designing something and learning the engineering side of something that is not fancy and full of lights and stardom, but it is full of necessary granular information that I need to finish getting material recorded, mixed, and mastered, and then at a competitive level. Because if I'm going to put myself out there, I must be putting myself up against the best. What is it? Where is it? How do I measure up? Now, I don't have to do that. I don't have to care about whatever is out there. But I grew up in the neighborhood where we where it was breakdancing, where we was pop locking, where we was, competing on the hoop court, competing on the football field, competing on the track. It was always this thing about competition and wanting to be the best at something that's driving something. And that and music went hand in hand. And we're still venturing into the unknown. I still want to know what the compression units do. Why? Because Sly and Prince and some of these other cats created a sound with their instrument, Stevie Wonder, beyond what was normally being heard. And what was it that they was doing? How did they get that? Now, maybe I don't want to copy it or imitate it, but I need to understand so that I'm replete with information. I'm replete with options of thoughts. There is no absence of inspiration if I think about it. I can be in a writer's block moment, but in actuality, there's nothing blocked. I just don't like the shit that I'm creating right now because I want to say something that I haven't found the path to. And I think this other stuff is whack, or these attempts are not, of the bar. And they can be dope. But, it depends on who's asking, who's listening. And I'm more than likely not sharing. So therefore, y'all will never hear it. But when it finally gets over that hurdle, let me tell you, it is a masterpiece. Well, why do I say that? I'm not going to say that without acknowledging other people's masterpieces and how their works impacted my life. And so if I'm going to get out there and say, I need to put something on this, my name is on this, my legacy is on this is going to count, then I need for you to press play and feel the same way. That may happen as a stroke of luck with certain people in moments in time. A lot of times you worked on it. You were sitting in that house, wasn't no sexy phone calls coming in, wasn't no dope ass money bags waiting around to go get picked up, just show up and pop through. None of that. And I'm still in here carving on something, polishing something. It could have been good enough a long time ago. However, sometimes it's hard to stop. We do get fanatical about this. It's a process. We love it. What else we gonna do? But it can't take me 11 years to drop an album when people's doing 11 songs in a month. But I'm not about the quantity, of what all can I share. I need to make sure it's due. And if the world is on a way that I'm not on, I can't say that I'm off, but I can acknowledge that I'm not on whatever that other way is. I'm on my way. And I'm going to keep, step by step, because I have to believe in something just as wholeheartedly and strong as a village somewhere that doesn't have electricity, but they know how to deal with the earth and they have thoughts on Mother Nature and they believe things. That belief it's indomitable. But it also has to be backed up by the works. And then team building. Everything Kendra was saying about how you might not know that you're on the path or how it's connecting. And then later on, it connects. Or boom, I wouldn't have made this choice had I not made that choice then. And now look at how these things have, come about. It's a trip, but don't stop. And don't spend too much time in the past, because it's a beautiful place to visit. But we can't live there.
I know we got a few other artists on here. Preacher Boy, would you like to say something? Or Sid Carter? If you guys can hear me. I got muted. Or Brother Jesus, you have something that you want to contribute?
Hi, everybody. I'm not very familiar with Zoom. Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Well, I worked with Kendra Foster on Andrew Day's album. It was, 6 years back now. And I haven't historically been music creative. I started in portraiture at a young age. So, draw portraits of people and painting and stuff like that. But always had a deep love of music. And I'm not as much of an old head, so I'm more, I came up with like the social media way of connection with in regards to music, and yeah, meeting Kendra, who's like one of my greatest mentors so far. Um, it's just a pleasure to be here in this group with y'all, and just keep listening to what Kendra's saying, man. She's dropping gems, and um, I'll say for myself, like she really does champion me a lot, and it's crazy to think that just a couple weeks ago I told Kendra, I'm like, I think I I think I got something, and actually believe it for the first time. It's just crazy. It's like my first few placements are with Grammy winners, and I'm just now coming to that realization that okay, yeah, I have something to contribute, um, and just trying not to be hard on myself because I'm doing a lot of catch up. I'm 36 years old, so I kind of started getting into music about 10 years now, and it's been, just breaking out of my shell has been really, really hard. I've had to unlearn a lot of things, and um, yeah, I'm so grateful to Kendra Foster. Um, really grateful to Andrew Day for connecting us. When she first reached out to me to come work, I tried to sabotage it. I didn't want to go in her space and like mess up her thing because this is Andrew Day. We were friends for a good while before that, but she always she peeped the pen game. I didn't quite see it, but she gave me just enough to like keep pursuing it. And then upon getting there, she's like, "We're gonna work with Kendra Foster." And I'm like, "Wait a minute." She wrote with D'Angelo. They won Grammys. I was so intimidated. And Kendra made me feel so welcome. Like the very first moment I met her, like I won't forget. Big red hair and just a really warm soul. And I'm so grateful. And yeah, I'll keep singing her praises. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
I guess before you go, brother, how did you find your confidence to
Oh,
even push through?
bro, it was kind of on a whim. So this was probably 2015. So my first like heartbreak happened. Uh, like I said, I always loved music. I loved singing, but like no one knew it, it was very like a secret. And I just posted like a snippet, probably doing like a cover of like an Amy Winehouse song or like a Billie Holiday song, something ja kind of jazz adjacent. And yeah, Andra saw me and she's like, "Wait a minute, you can sing?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I can sing." I'm like, It feels good when I do it, but I just didn't have at the uh, until recently again. I just didn't have that. I didn't give myself the permission to feel good about, my voice, or like, I didn't hold the space to like love on my instrument and my journey, and it's just barely starting to click, y'all. Like, I went through it, as Kendra knows. The last year, I kind of just went through it. God's just been really showing out in my life, and it's just like on a day to day, it's like a new person is like emerging, and it for me, it really has been like spiritual and God, and just taking it a day at a time, man. But we're getting there. Kendra wants me to be the artist, and perform my works, which I feel like there is a desire for that deep down. I thought I was content with just writing for other people, but I now realize that I have a point of view, which I didn't really see through all like the noise, before. So yeah, it's a work in progress though. Still trying to break out the shell. Still nervous even now. Imagine me like in a room with like world class musicians and singers. Like, yeah, the voice is like real low, but I'm working through it. I'm working through it. I think Kendra has been witness to it, so I'm starting to see it myself now.
Yeah, I could definitely attest to that because, like I said earlier, as a teenager, I leaned on her. Another great artist, Cody Chestnut. Um, who else? This guy named Jay Lawson out of Tallahassee area as well. And just leaning on those guys, kind of like how you were, kind of nervous, like, man, should I even be up here playing this guitar? Or should I even be on the same stage with them? Just second guessing myself, but of course, them being great humans, not just artists, but great humans, just kept, come on, yeah, you could do it. You could be up here with us. You good enough. So I can definitely attest to your story. I can, definitely relate to that. So thank you for not being too afraid to just go ahead and just step out there in faith, as I say. Without you having that confidence, we may not got those incredible songs. So, kudos to you as well, brother. Any other artists have any questions? Because I know it's a lot of different genres on here. We have neo soul, we have pop, we have Christian hip hop on here, we have urban contemporary artists on here. So anybody, also I see a few managers and musicians. So does anybody else have any questions about the music business? While we have some great knowledgeable people on here.
I would like to say
If I may.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I would never cut you off. Go ahead, Miss Kendra.
no, I remember. Please go ahead, Miss Brittany.
Well, something I thought was interesting that you mentioned was just that, a lot of times they're looking for the it, and they may have a lot of songs that's really good, but it's not it. And Ontario, I know I let you listen to a few songs that I had, and I have a few songs that I think are really good, but are just missing something. And I would love to have somebody listen to it and say, okay, here's some ideas of what we can do to get it to the it. But what I don't want to do, and I mean, maybe there's just no choice in it, is I've already put out so much money with musicians and getting it to the place that it is that I want to fix it or just put that sauce on it, but I don't want to go back and have to pay musicians and things like that. And my goal for the project I'm working on was to produce it myself. So I'm doing the mixing and, maybe just pay someone to master it. But I don't want to have to go all the way back to starting over with the track.
You don't, absolutely, you don't have to start over. I think what it could be is it's one of two things that you can do to find those spots where it's great, but it's not it. To manifest the it. And that is give yourself some time until the it comes in those spaces where you feel like, okay, everything else is perfect, but this right here is not. Because when the it comes, it clicks. It clicks for you. And it's one of those things that when you hear it or like hear yourself do it or someone else do it, it's that thing where you're like, I don't care who I play this for. Like, I know this is good. You want to feel that way about it. So either wait until it comes to you, which, you know, if you're on a timeline, that may not be the thing, or find someone. I know if you've already paid musicians and you've already done that, maybe perhaps there is someone you can find who would be okay with being paid on the back end or through the publishing or something to help you find the it. Or if it's a mixing issue, or since you're engineering as well, maybe there's someone you could barter with if you don't have the budget. But the either it's either I'm gonna wait and pray, you know, because prayer does change things. You know, you talk to God and you tell God, there have been a couple times where I'm like, I know you may not come when I want you to, but you'll be there right on time. But I need you right now, you know, like right now in these moments, like I have a decision to make, I have a thing to do. Can you, you know, talk to me? And then sure enough, the phone will ring. You're welcome to or something like that. And but you know, give yourself the space and the time for either you to arrive at the it or find someone to collaborate with that maybe, you know, you can work out something with that if you don't have the budget on the front end, that you can, you know, they can have equity in the situation, or like yet again, you can barter with them.
Thank you. That's helpful.
I'm glad. The one thing that I wanted to say also in the songwriting situation, when you're writing for other people, because this has happened to me in a couple situations, especially when I was writing with Queen Latifah, which was the biggest blessing. She's an awesome person. And one day she was like on the mic and it was a beautiful track, and it was like she just kept like coming, like she just was improvising all these amazing ideas. And there were so many of them, all the lyrics were there, all of that was great. And I was like, there's nothing that I need to do except for to tell you that everything. That's another part of being an awesome songwriter, is being able to recognize and encourage a person when they've already arrived at it. For me, there was nothing that I could add except for to say, all right, hey, you know what? That you just sang is the whole song. All you got to do is, you know, is to move this section that you were singing right here. That should be the verse. This section you were singing right here, that would be the chorus. This section you're singing right here, that would be your bridge. And remembering that, hey, maybe that means that I didn't contribute any words or any melodies or anything that could be considered a split. But if I would have been like, okay, that's cool, but you need this, and given her something unnecessary just because I wanted to have a stake in the song, that wouldn't be righteous. If you're a true songwriter also knows when to encourage somebody and let them know they've already made the mark. And what you'll find is that people, just for you doing that, will be like, you know what, you were in the room, you encouraged me, you told me, if you weren't there, I wouldn't have known this was a song. I'm going to cut you in on the splits. Yeah, so that's another anecdote.
I would like to know, can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like to know how, because I do have a song I would like to, that I have written, like you said, just sitting on the shelf. So I want to know, how would I go about reaching out to someone to submit? How would I go about getting with them or getting a list? Is there a list?
There are, what I've found, and this is where it gets tricky, is that, yeah, there are lists. There are that circulate among, uh-oh, somebody's not muted. Okay. That circulate amongst people in the industry that, you know, if you got a friend or if you got someone that's already kind of in the loop, or a colleague, then, you know, that's a way. But here's another really wild approach is you could contact, if you don't have a publishing deal already, you could contact, and this is something I would try if I hadn't, if I didn't have a manager at the time and didn't have at least a little something to make them, want to sign me or whatever. But people, you may not, they issue, you could play your stuff for publishing companies. You could find out, you could reach out to like a Sony ATV. That's who I have a publishing deal with. You have RCA, you have Warner Brothers, now you may have to go through some channels, but you could figure out, okay, how do I get in touch with an A&R, or how do I submit my music to this publishing company to perhaps get maybe a small publishing deal? A lot of times you may not, sometimes you get an advance, sometimes you don't, but they'll definitely, if there's somebody that's a decent writer that sends them something that sounds like it has possibility, then that, and if you were saying, I'm looking for a deal, they may work one out with you, and that would definitely get you in the door. Now, I know that's like a really big step, like to say, okay, how you would, find out what's going on and who needs what. But that would be a way. That would be a way, would be to reach out to the actual publishing companies that are connecting writers to artists and look into and submit with them and see if there's a deal, or maybe, you submit something that's awesome. They maybe already know who they would put that on, who they would what they would do with that music. Because there's levels to the publishing deals. Yes, there are, people that have done stuff or whatever that blew up or that got in the right hands that they can manage a deal, but there were so many people with deals at these companies or with opportunities or connections to, so that would be a way. There's also some, I haven't used them myself, which is why I probably wouldn't even bother recommending, but I feel like there are some agencies or some companies that profess to connect you to licensing and, things like that. But yet again, publishing deals can get a little tricky. The terms you would want to be good, but you never know. If you may not even have to formulate a deal, you could probably just submit music and see, what they would do with it. But I would maybe reach, like, if you're starting from, the ground up, or if you, wherever you are, like, if you haven't done that, if you don't already have a publishing deal, that, or if you don't already know of a publisher or, somebody that works in one of those companies, then you can, that could be a way.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. This has been a blessing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And yet again, and because you're in the gospel realm, right? It's a small world. there are people even, oh, you're in Alabama. I'm just thinking everybody's in Tallahassee. That is not it at all. After I've heard everybody say where they're calling from. But this, yeah, the gospel world is small. You may know a person that knows a person that knows a person. And, flex those muscles, put out your feelers. Because what's happened to me is even with the pub deal, I know somebody that knows somebody that does have a situation that does get the briefs. Because look, I got a whole publishing deal, and sometimes I don't get these briefs that other people get. And then, because I know them, they let me know, so and so is looking for this and that, because maybe my publishing company didn't get those briefs, maybe Warner Brothers got it. And, so there's also that. Think and think about who you know, and who you know may know somebody to know somebody to know somebody. And you just, maybe you hadn't put your feelers out before. So, you might find out that when, closed mouths don't get fed. So you can go ahead and don't worry about it, and take a chance and see who knows who that may be able to connect you.
Again, thank you so much. I'm not offended. I'm teachable.
Well, I can see you have this whole fancy setup behind you. So I'm just assuming that, yeah, you probably have more of a connection to what you want than you realize.
My husband's my producer, and so I'm learning as I go, so I co-produce some music, and I'm loving the way things are happening for me right now. So but I'm open to learning a lot. I have so much I need to learn. So I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Once, twice.
Please let me say one more thing. I'm sorry. Not for real. But I was thinking when you were saying that about closed lips, and that has been my thing. I've always allowed other people to take full control. So for the past 2 years, 3 years, I've been getting deeper into it. So while my husband's working with other artists, I'm trying to learn what I can, because there's a lot I want to put out there. Not so much, I guess, looking for a record deal, maybe, but looking for distribution, and just looking for the right connection. And you're so right. If I don't speak up, and I'm serious, I'm learning to speak up now like never before, and I'm loving this. My brother, thank you so much for all you're doing, because this is all you're doing. Thank you so much for putting this platform together.
Hello there, everyone.
Hello.
How you doing there? Kendra, I don't know if you remember me, but I met you way back in the day in Tallahassee Nights Live. I used to sing for Tallahassee Nights Live. They called me Fluffy Rain. I'd like to thank Ontario Richard for inviting me on here, and I thank you all for your awesome testimonies. I used to sing professionally as a younger person, a teenager, and I kind of stopped for a long time and was doing the motherhood thing. Just now getting back into, I've always been a writer. It comes naturally. I love singing background. I love working with other artists, you know what I'm saying, making them shine. I like to be in the background mostly. But I've recently moved to Oklahoma City from Havana, Florida, just outside of Tallahassee. And I used to live in New York. So in New York, when I was originally doing music, and in Atlanta, it came so easy. You would run into artists and you can just network face to face. And so then you can get to know one another right away. And so it was not that difficult to get out there, as they say. But now that I'm older and it seems like it would be easier, all this technology way of talking to people, I'm not used to. I'm not accustomed to this. I'm used to one-on-one, heart to heart. We feel the music, then we get in here and make something. And 20 something songs in a month's time is I'm used to this. Okay. So if everybody's trying to get together on here and actually let's do something, then I'm willing to come out of retirement so we can come on and do this thing. You know what I'm saying? I understand that you guys have already gotten Grammys and whatnot. And I feel like some of the writing that we can put together and with the artistry and the spirit, you talking about? Spirit is what gets you to the destination. God is the leader. He's in charge. And when God puts a thing together, baby, can't nothing stop it. So we might not look like we belong here, but we belong up front and center because last shall be first. Don't I say it in his word? And so I'm just on here to say hello, wish you peace and blessings. And if anybody wants to do some work for real, I got plenty of work that I just don't have none of the rest of it. I'm sitting here on my dusty porch, baby, and I've been sitting on some silver and gold for a whole bunch of years. Hear me? And so if we want to get together on a thing, y'all holler at your girl, okay? And it's so nice to meet every last one of you. I'm giving you hugs and loves, and I'm just appreciative of you inviting me in this conversation.
All love. So initially, as some of you heard in the first workshop, uh, this whole thing was put together to, of course, bring artists together, no matter what the genre is, and just share knowledge. You know, each one of us, we don't know everything, but we may know somebody who may have more experience and been successful at what they do. So that was the whole reasoning behind putting all this together. And of course, to create friendships and relationships so that, like she just said, people can collaborate on different projects. You know, somebody might need a stylist, somebody might need a background vocalist or a songwriter or producer, or engineer. So that's what this whole thing is about. Just unifying people and just bringing them together in hopes of creating some beautiful music and some beautiful art. So I definitely appreciate each and every one of you for coming and joining us. A few of you guys have been with us every workshop, and I'm definitely grateful for each and every one of you guys. So before we go, do anybody else have anything else they want to share?
I want to say thank you all for listening to me and my story and anything that I had to say. May everyone be blessed with whatever it is that you desire that is best for you, that is your divine right. And may everyone be blessed with what it is they need and desire.
Mm-hmm. And then also, too, I almost forgot, if you guys don't mind, please put your social handles, links to your music, you know, so we all can support each other and help spread the good vibes. So if nobody else have anything else to say, I'll leave this up for a few more minutes, and so you guys can like copy information down or screenshot it. Thank you, Kendra, for leading the charge tonight. Thank you, Brother Martin Luther, for coming in and sharing some nuggets as well, all the way from the Bay Area.
Martin Luther!
Just everybody just for coming on and just, you know, having, just being open to hearing from other people. Like I said, each one of us, you know, none of us know everything, so it's always good to hear from others and their experiences. So I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. And if you don't mind, go ahead. Somebody said something? I heard something.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's probably me.
Okay. All right. So before we get out of here, if you don't mind, Brittany, can you pray us out?
Yeah, I got you. Thank you, Jesus. for this night, Lord. I thank you, God, for all of the creatives and the people you've gathered together and the gifts and the talents that you've given them. Lord, I pray that your anointing would rest upon their shoulders, Lord, that your spirit would come in and help them when they're creating, that you would give them divine vision and opportunity and open doors, Lord, and that you would cause them to walk uprightly in your ways. For you have said that those people who commit their way to you, that unto them everything else would be opened up to them. And so we just pray, God, that you would do that for us, Lord, that we would put you first and that everything else you would add to our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to do our best to keep this going. We're a couple weeks in now. So, of course, look out for the text messages, the emails, and social media posts. And I will do my best to continue to bring you guys great leaders to lead the class. And yeah, just if you can, just share the word that this is something that we're doing now, and we want to encourage our artists, producers, songwriters, stylists, graphic designers, radio personalities. We want to be able to encourage everyone, actors, actresses, everybody. So just spread the word about what we're doing, and just continue to push forward. Never lose confidence. Just keep pushing forward and keep God first. All right, y'all.
Yes. Oh, I also have one more thing to say. I haven't even put that I can push. I do have a business that is called Kendra Foster's Creative Critiques, where I basically you can bring a work or works to me, and we discuss it in a Zoom room, and I can critique or tell you you're on the right path or help with issues or troubleshooting issues with your music, and try, and usually it's a little pricey, but like we can get a lot done in an hour. It's like $300 an hour, but there's a lot we can get done. This is something that I used to do at NYU. I used to mentor and look over students' work and see, help them, arrange their songs, or just tell them if they're on the right track, tell them what I see, and then we actually proceed to try to fix those problems. But I just want to let y'all know that's there. You can always DM me at my, I do have a Kendra KF Creative Critiques on Instagram, but it probably would be easier to like email me at KendraMFoster@gmail.com. KendraMFoster@gmail.com, or DM me at MZ Kendra Foster on Instagram. And that was my commercial. Okay, everyone be blessed.
That's great. That's great. And like I said before, of course, just screenshot everybody's name and go support their projects. I do know Brother Martin Luther, he has a new EP out right now, Welcome Back, Love. So y'all definitely go support that. Deborah Price, she has a project out right now as well. Brittany Henry has a project. So pretty much everybody on here has projects. So definitely support each other, because we all need each other. So again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And just look out for the next one. I'm gonna try to do another one next Thursday. So just be on the lookout for the updates. All right, y'all. Have a great night. Peace.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yes, ma'am.